Currently, the Marriage Act explicitly requires that a marriage can only be between a man and a woman. Now that's legislated discrimination, and it's unique in Australian law, and it must be overturned. Critics of marriage equality argue that it has always been the case that marriage could only be between a man and a woman. But indeed it only became this way as recently as 2004, when during the Howard federal government, the Marriage Act was amended to make it explicit that it be between a man and a woman. This leaves Australia these days completely out of step with so many other developed countries. Close to home in New Zealand, they legislated marriage equality some time ago. And of course, very recently, in a stunning referendum result in Ireland, the Irish community voted strongly in favour of marriage equality. There's been some discussion lately that Australia should follow the Irish example and have a referendum on this matter. But of course, marriage is not addressed in the Australian Constitution, so there's no requirement for a referendum in this country. In fact, the only thing that's required in Australia to legalise marriage equality is a simple amendment to the Marriage Act, and that can be done by putting a bill through both Houses of Parliament very quickly, ideally later this year. Now, we did try to move an amendment in the last Parliament when Adam Bant and I co-sponsored a bill, but it was unsuccessful, in large part because the then Liberal National opposition were not allowed a conscience vote. Hopefully in this Parliament, a conscience vote will be allowed, probably in response to a cross-party bill to legislate marriage equality. A bill that would be co-sponsored by Liberal, National, Labor, the minor and micro parties and the independents. And indeed, I've been approached to be a co-sponsor of such a bill. So here's hoping, and this is certainly what should happen, is a cross-party bill come into the Parliament this year, a conscience vote be allowed, the bill passes, and we can have marriage equality in Australia by the end of this year. What will be very important during this process is that great respect be shown not just for the issue, but also for all members of the community and the quite diverse range of views they have, including those who oppose marriage equality. So it needs to be an inclusive process, with leaders in the community being just that, leaders, and guiding the community through what will be almost certainly a controversial process. And the final makeup of the change needs to be respectful of some people's concerns, such as the churches, who really should continue to have the right to decide who they marry. In closing, I just want to say one thing. Yes, this is about dealing with the legislated discrimination currently in the Marriage Act. But I reckon even more importantly, it's about recognising the love between two men or two women, and the fact that that is just as important as the love between a man and a woman. The community needs to recognise that, and the Parliament needs to recognise that by changing the Marriage Act.